Hey guys, this is Ian Fairley, and welcome back to another episode of my Dinosaur series. Last episode on the Dinosaur series, we discussed how the parrot-like Oviraptorosaurs took care of their eggs like today's birds, such as ostriches and chickens. Furthermore, we have learned that most of these dinosaurs can be fast runners in order to avoid becoming a meal of hungry predatory dinosaurs. The Oviraptorosaurs may have used their feathers and their strange appendages to attract females and hope to raise a family of their own. And speaking of fast runners, we are going to be talking about a group of ostrich-like dinosaurs that may have been fast or even faster than the Oviraptorosaurs. They are called the Ornithomimosaurs. The scientific term Ornithomimosaur means bird mimic lizard. Therefore, they are a group of theropods that look like modern-day ostriches, but act like other birds more than ostriches. Similar to the Oviraptorosaurs, they came in all different colors and shapes and sizes. Most of them had feathers and others may have not. Some of them may have even looked like present-day spoonbills. The reason why Ornithomimosaurs mostly relate to birds is because they have no teeth at all, unlike most dinosaurs. Their diet might have been omnivorous, so it's most likely that some of these species ate other dinosaur eggs. However, that doesn't mean they can't raise their own family. The species of Ornithomimosaurs we are going to be talking about for this episode are Gallimimus and Dinochirus. Why don't we begin with Gallimimus first, shall we? The name of the dinosaur, Gallimimus, means chicken mimic, which is weird since this dinosaur was bigger than a chicken. Nevertheless, the similarity of Gallimimus' neck structure to modern-day chickens is what gave Gallimimus its name, even despite being as big as an ostrich at a height of 11 feet and a length of 20 feet. A Gallimimus' running speed was estimated to be about as fast as the African ostrich, at 45 miles an hour. Fast enough to avoid large predators at least. This dinosaur was discovered in southeastern Mongolia during the early 1970s. Various individual fossils of Gallimimus, both young and old, have been found, suggesting that these dinosaurs moved in herds, very much to how chickens are herded in a group when walking into a farm hen house. Like today's modern birds, Gallimimus and other Ornithomimosaurs had eyes on the side of their heads, instead of facing forward like a human's, believing that they would have had an all-round view, but not that deep in vision like the Troodon. Gallimimus had an omnivorous diet, consisting of small insects, plants, berries, and possibly eggs, since they are partially theropod dinosaurs. The dinosaur may have worn bird-like feathers on its body, similar to Velociraptor and Oviraptor, since the sandy places of the Mongolian desert were cold at the same time it was hot. In order to build a nest, Gallimimus would use its three-fingered hands to scratch and dig at the ground, since its hands were poorly designed for grasping things in it. And you're probably wondering, how did ostriches dig up their own nests? Well, I believe they used their feet to dig up their own nests for sure. And in a way, Gallimimus may have raised its own babies the same way ostriches did. Now that I have covered all the facts about Gallimimus, it's time to talk about our other dinosaur for this episode, the Dinochirus. The name of this giant dinosaur, Dinochirus, means horrible hand, because unlike its smaller relative, the Gallimimus, this dinosaur had huge arms and claws, mostly used for grabbing leaves off of large trees. The claws of Dinochirus were also used to fight against hungry predators that dare to attack it. This dinosaur happened to be discovered in the Gobi Desert of southern Asian Mongolia, year 1965. Only a few fossils have been found of Dinochirus so far, such as its arms and claws. The arms may have covered the outside of the bone, and possibly measured up to be 3 feet 7 inches long, suggesting that Dinochirus was a carnivore rather than a herbivore. But even though Dinochirus was considered to be a theropod dinosaur, it was actually a herbivore that ate plants and tree leaves during its time in the Cretaceous period, 70 million years ago. Dinochirus may have lived near less sandy places of the Gobi Desert, and probably more greeny parts of the area to feast on more food. The size of this dinosaur was undetermined until later years, and scientists estimated that this dinosaur was about 45 feet long and 25 feet in height. Not only is it bigger than an ostrich, but it is also as big as its carnivorous sharp-toothed enemy, the Tarbosaurus. Fighting one Tarbosaurus alone would be enough for one Dinochirus, but if there were to be a whole pack, the bird-like herbivore wouldn't stand much of a chance. If Dinochirus lived in herds, they probably wouldn't be big enough herds, but at least they mostly traveled in families of 3 or slightly more. Like all dinosaurs and birds, Dinochirus took care of its young until they would be old enough to do things themselves or independently. It's even how it works with modern animals and, of course, human beings. Furthermore, if a single parent animal dies or is taken down by another animal, then life would have been harder for the youngsters, for they will have to fend for themselves sooner than they think. Originally, paleontologists believed that Dinochirus looked very much like its ostrich-like cousins, even though it has big arms and claws as sharp as a bear's. However, when the full skeleton of the dinosaur has been discovered and reconstructed in later years, it was specified to have a large, spiny hump on its back, like those of Egyptian camels, and a long beak shaped like either a pelican's or a spoonbill's. The dinosaur may have also worn feathers on its body for warmth and display, considering its bird-like appearance. Well folks, that wraps it up for this episode. If you like this video, please leave a like in the comment section and subscribe to this channel. Next time on my dinosaur series, we will talk about a group of flying reptiles that are not exactly dinosaurs, but closely related to them. They are scientifically called the pterosaurs. This is Ian Fairley, and thank you for listening.